The second I saw her pristine white sedan double park in front of my driveway, I knew this wasn't going to be a normal Tuesday. I was on the back patio, admiring the new rose bushes my daughter had sent, the air thick with the scent of mulch and impending humidity, when a loud, insistent ding-dong shattered the peace. I sighed, wiping my hands on my jeans as I headed for the front door, a familiar knot of dread tightening in my stomach. What fresh hell was this? Before I could even reach the knob, she was stomping up the walkway, a phone pressed to her ear, a police officer trailing 2 feet behind her like a lost puppy. Oh, hell no. My mouth went dry, the cool tile of the foyer suddenly feeling slick under my feet. The woman a stranger, yet a face that screamed, "I want to speak to the manager," was already on my front porch, her voice a high-pitched, venomous hum. "He's refusing to answer the door. I told you, this man is a menace," she shrieked into the phone. The officer, a young guy who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, shuffled awkwardly. "Ma'am, let's just wait a moment," he muttered, but his words were lost in her righteous indignation. What in the world did this lunatic want? The officer caught my eye through the sidelight and gave me a sheepish shrug. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the sudden rush of anger that was making my hands shake. I opened the door just enough for him to see me, an eyebrow raised. "Can I help you, officer?" I asked, my voice flat. My eyes darted to the woman, her eyes wide with a mix of fury and triumph. She slammed the phone down and pointed a perfectly manicured finger at me. "He's the one. He lets his roses grow too big. They're ruining the aesthetic of the neighborhood and attracting bees. I'm allergic. You know." I blinked. I thought I misheard her. I must have. I looked at the officer, whose face was now a mask of pure, unadulterated embarrassment. He cleared his throat. "Sir, we received a complaint about unruly landscaping," he said, his voice trailing off into a question. I let out a low, humorless laugh. "Unruly landscaping? Really? What does the Homeowners Association say about it? And since when is that a police matter?" I felt the blood pounding in my ears. The woman stepped forward, her expensive perfume assaulting my nostrils. "I am the new Homeowners Association president, and I've already sent him 3 violation notices, which he has ignored. The law is on my side. Officer, do your job and issue him a citation." My gaze hardened, my posture straightening. I looked at the officer, then at the woman, then back at the officer, making sure he understood the gravity of the situation. "Officer, let me be perfectly clear," I said, my voice dropping to a dangerously calm whisper. "You and your associate are currently trespassing on my private property. I have not invited you in. You have no warrant, and there is no exigent circumstance to justify your presence here. In fact, a complaint about unruly roses is not a criminal offense, a public nuisance, or any other matter that falls under your jurisdiction. So, respectfully, I'm going to ask you both to leave my property. Now." The officer's eyes widened slightly. The woman scoffed. Tiny, condescending sound. "Oh, please. He's just spouting nonsense. He can't tell us what to do. I have a right to what?" "Ma'am?" I interrupted, my voice still quiet but with an edge of steel. "A right to harass me in my own home? A right to waste taxpayer dollars on a petty grievance? Because that's what this is. A harassment claim, if you will. And it's a claim I'm now prepared to make." I could see the gears turning in the young officer's mind. He looked from me to the Karen, his bravado from moments ago replaced by genuine unease. She was still ranting, something about property values and her precious allergies, but her voice now sounded like the buzzing of an annoying fly. He held up a hand. "Ma'am, let's take a step back," he said, his voice firmer this time. "He's right. This isn't a police matter, and we can't just enter a private residence without cause." He turned back to me, His demeanor completely changed. "Sir, I sincerely apologize. I was mistaken. We'll be leaving now." But the Karen wasn't done. Not by a long shot. "Mistaken? You can't be serious. He's a public menace. I'll have you off this force by the end of the day. I know the chief. You know." She screamed, her face turning a blotchy red. And that was my moment. The moment I'd been waiting for. The grand reveal of the side twist. I looked at the officer, a faint smile playing on my lips. "Oh, she knows the chief. Does she?" I asked, my voice full of an irony he now understood. "That's great. But you know who else knows the chief?" I paused, letting the silence hang in the air, the distant hum of a neighbor's air conditioner filling the gap. "I do. We went to the academy together. In fact, he was my partner for 8 years. The officer's mouth fell open, and his eyes practically bulged out of his head. "Wait, are you Detective Miller?" he stammered. I just nodded slowly, my smile widening. "Retired," I confirmed. "And I think you and I should have a conversation about proper procedure and probable cause. Don't you? After you deal with your little friend here, of course." The look of utter panic on the Karen's face was a sight to behold. She knew she was caught. She knew the game was up. She saw the tables turn so fast. They were spinning. The officer, now moving with a newfound, professional urgency, turned to her. "Ma'am, you need to leave this property immediately," he stated, his voice devoid of any previous hesitation. "If you do not, I will be forced to issue you a citation for disturbing the peace. And just for the record, this isn't a police matter. It's an homeowners association issue, and you are not permitted to use my uniform to enforce your rules." She opened her mouth to protest, but he cut her off. "I've also been made aware of your repeated harassment of this individual, which is also a chargeable offense. Now, get in your car and leave." The defeat in her eyes was palpable. Her jaw was slack, her shoulders slumped, and her face, once a portrait of self-entitled fury, was now just a canvas of bitter, quiet humiliation. She didn't say another word, just turned on her heel and scurried back to her pristine white sedan, her movements clumsy and graceless. I watched her car peel away from the curb. The officer stood there for a moment, shifting his weight. "I am so sorry, sir," he said, shaking his head. "I should have known better." I just nodded, a sense of quiet satisfaction settling over me. "It's all right, son. Just a reminder that the uniform doesn't give you the right to ignore the law. And always remember, there's a difference between a complaint and a crime." He nodded, a genuine look of gratitude on his face, before turning to walk back to his patrol car. I closed my door, a different kind of sigh leaving my lips this time. It wasn't a sigh of dread, but a sigh of relief. As I walked back to my rosebushes, the scent of the flowers suddenly seemed stronger, more fragrant than before. It wasn't just about winning a petty argument. It was about standing my ground, holding what's right, and reminding everyone that a badge is a symbol of justice, not a tool for a neighborhood bully. What's more satisfying than watching a bully get what they deserve? Not much, I'll tell you that. Not much at all.